Gentlemen, we want to welcome Link to the desk from a victorious CLG. You guys fought back from a bit of a deficit there, and I just kind of want to start from the very beginning, champion select. You've said it before, you're okay with playing against Kassadin, and you guys let it through. But the Tristana ban came in place of that. So can you kind of give me some of your thoughts on why that was?
So Double Lift and Afro, they don't really have that much experience for Tristana matchup, so they just wanted to ban it. It's kind of annoying to play versus, and it's one of those heroes that if it gets a late game, it's one of the best, champions in the game that scale, and it's really hard to play versus because she has, long range, she has an escape, and she has great peel. For the Kassadin ban, we expected them to first pick Kassadin. We just didn't expect them to ban out like literally every single mid laner. So it was a pretty good drafting phase with him.
Yeah, you had a really great game on Yasuo there, and every time CLG has come up against compLexity, you guys are 0-3 against them, but you guys don't really pull away until the 20-minute mark, and sometimes have a really big gold deficit. You gave up first blood in the mid lane, but you recover from that. What does the shot calling become like when that happens and you guys are behind?
When we're behind, we're always looking to make plays and trying to figure out our lanes. Unfortunately, our lanes in that game were kind of bad because we should have 2v1 because Renekton beats Shyvana, and then their bottom lane pressures our bottom lane with jungle pressure. And then I shouldn't have lost mid, but the jungle gank happened, and that's kind of my fault. I just didn't respect the 3-minute 30 mid gank. And I should have known because I knew where he started. So I just kind of got greedy and wanted to go for a kill. And because of that, the kind of mid-game kind of snowballed, but what happened was they gave up drags when they shouldn't have. They should have contested all of them, and we got 2 drags when they were ahead and they had control. But I think Westrise used TP a bit early, and then we had Seraph with TP, so that allowed us to secure some dragons. And because of that, we were able to keep in the game, and we kind of knew that we outscaled because of their builds, and they were all like itemizing for armor. But in reality, we have a lot of hybrid damage. So.
Absolutely. I mean, definitely when you have a late game scaling composition like the one that you have. What is the mindset in the 3-1 or the 1-3-1 kind of split push that you guys did after you had secured the Baron and you finally got to that power spike that you were looking for?
We knew that we can win our silence with Baron buff because of just the amount of stats that it provides. Shyvana could pressure Renekton really easily, and I can beat the Kassadin. And because of that, we needed to get every single outer tower. And it was just kind of a slow and steady game, and we wanted to make sure that we don't get pressured by TP. Because say we happen to group 5 mid with Baron buff, then what would happen is Kassadin and Renekton would just go split top and bottom, and then we won't be able to do anything about the pressure because they have double TP, right? So we have to play this 1-3-1 game until we can slowly pressure them into their base, and then once we're finally strong enough and we get the waves just good enough, then we can group 5 and just end the game.
Yeah, and you guys had a really great turning point at the Baron. We're going to get a replay up on your screen really quick here. I want you to walk me through this because you end up with a perfect steal at the end.
Yeah, it was kind of funny because everyone was like, we don't want to get into 50-50, but we got Baron low enough, and then Dexter just kind of left us, and then I just happened to be aware of what was happening. And at this point, all we're doing is we're just pretty much trying to pressure everyone. And then Kassadin comes in, and we all see him, and we get a free pick off. And basically, that was the catch. And then we just keep chasing, and we try to get kills. And then Robert dies here, I think. Yep. And then we just go for Baron, and then it's just over and over again. Yeah.
It's a really long fight. He ends up TPing back in to re-engage you guys.
Yeah, exactly. And, Elisa's here, and we're all just like, Double, why are you on the wrong side? Double needs to come over here because he's useless without W. And we're getting pressured, and he's like, all right, we're coming over, and we're just trying to kill people left and right. And it's just a really chaotic fight because we're all trying to peel off, and we're trying to go on. Kassadin reses, and then I think he comes back eventually too. And then Westrise is in front of our faces, and we're trying to kill him. And then we managed to get the Baron buff, and then that's it.
I mean, that was just an absolutely insane fight, but that is the fight that allowed you to pull off that 1-3-1 that you were talking about and kind of take control of the game, get the map back into your favor. The next thing I want to talk about is moving through the game. We saw a little bit of a 2v2 top lane at about 27 minutes that you took. What is it that allows you to roam the way you do? On a champion that with his mobility, what's the confidence factor that goes into that kind of a split push on Yasuo?
You just have to know what your power spike is, and I was looking at Kassadin's items, and he only had one really big item that was Rod of Ages. He had stats on the Glacial Shroud and the Seeker's Arm Guard and the cooldown reduction boots, but for the most part, we were a lot stronger, and I knew because I think I had IE at that time, so I had pretty much 90% crit chance, and that's really just. It's a crazy amount of damage.
Yeah, and we're going to get a replay on your screen really quick. Walk me through this. It's the top lane fight where you and Dexter end up with a kill at the end.
Okay. So I see Probably go on me, and I see Elise. And Elise is too far to do anything right now, and Probably's already at half HP. And we see Elise, and we're going for a catch. And I know that he's just going to rappel onto me, so I just dirt Q, and then I ulti him. And Dexter comes in with a perfect kick, and then he knocks them both up. And then I follow up with my own knockup, and then we just kill them both.
Dexter placed a ward over the wall, and he's like, nope, I'm just going to flash it.
Yeah.
Well,
instead of ward hopping.
Absolutely. But that's what you're talking about, knowing the limitations of your champion, having the confidence to split push in that scenario, and knowing that you'll win that fight.
Yep.
You know, from there, we went and saw another Baron fight, right? And you actually had an amazing play where Dexter decided to leave the Baron, called for the fight, and Kez came over the wall. So was that an individual decision by you, or was that called for, that you would go on to Kez, wait for his smite, and then you ended up securing the Baron for your team?
Well, what happened was I told my team that, all right, this is going to be a 50-50, you know, so we have to like do something about it. And then at the last second, I told everyone to burn it, but then everyone decided to just leave and fight everyone else, because Double and Afro were trying to peel off and, you know, kill the frontliners who were coming in. But then they didn't see Elise, who jumped over the wall. And then at that moment, I realized that Baron was at 1.5k HP, and I was like, well, this is going to get smited. And then, you know, he jumped in, and then he smited at like 1k, I think. So it went down to 500 HP, and then I just queued and auto it, and then I got it.
Yeah, and you guys have multiple games coming up, one more later today. How do you guys prepare for Super Week as opposed to a regular week?
You really have to be on top of your game, because you just have to have really strong picks overall, because every team will know what you're going to want to play this week. But for the most part, we always prepare for each match differently. And versus Cloud9, we're going to be definitely, since we watched the first game, and I'm pretty sure they watched our game too, like we're both going to have info on each other. So we're just going to try to do our best and just outplay them that way.
All right. Well, I guess I'll ask a little bit more of a specific question onto the end of that, specifically against Cloud9 today, right? That's another team that we saw play very well already. Do you take into account the game that happened today, or do you just stick with the game plan that you guys had going into the day?
No, we always look at their game today, because that's probably their most favorable picks. I'm pretty sure that every other team does that too.
All right. Well, I want to thank you. We have to take a quick break while we tidy up the rift for our next match, Dignitas versus Evil Geniuses. Don't touch that mouse.